Before we get into the information, I want to clarify the first 6 minutes or 7 or 8 minutes, whatever it is, of the main video is what I actually came to communicate to you. And that is, I would love for you all to send me your suggestions for a video or a series of videos, whatever it would turn out to be. Anyways, after that was pure inspiration. The message that I'm bringing, I hope you will stick around for that. It is profound. It is important to you. I always tell you, if I don't have something to give you, there's no need for me to speak. Ever. So that's first. Secondly, I'm linking this. They're not really related. It's not related, but it's all one thing, really, in the context of just existing as African people in the diaspora. Everything matters. So this video, EFF sends a strong warning to, no, that's not the one. Damn it. Hold up, y'all. This is the one. My bad. EFF media briefing address by CIC Julius Malema, 2nd July 2019. And you're going to go and watch this, everybody, because when I first became aware of this brother, I came to you and I said, I have found myself. I found me. I found me. I found the African, the authentic African, continental African version of myself. This brother represents everything that I aspire to be as it relates to a vanguard and a direction for the liberation of my people. He's fearless. He is defiant. He is focused. He's passionate. He's serious. I could keep going. But all these things describe me. But what he has that I don't have is he has people. Like, they have an organization, a presence, a force to be reckoned with. You understand? And so before I even knew he existed, I had been trying to form the Black Independence Liberation League. And I didn't find out about them until the thing went on with H&M. That's when I even knew the EFF even existed. And probably many of us. I brought you a video. Oh my God, because while we were here moaning and complaining and doing videos about the ad piece that H&M did with the little boy with the monkey shirt on, they were going systematically to every H&M in South Africa and destroying the entire building. It's just going in and destroying the stores. I loved it. I loved it. And he talks about that in this press conference. He says, look where we are now. If we had not done that. And he says, they say, and he also, again, my words are in his mouth, because when he talks about, you're going to hear this. That's why you're going to watch this. All right. And there may be some technical difficulties. I don't know, but just bear through it. It's worth it, everybody. Now, if I can get through it, so can you. But when he says, when he talked about the H&M thing, for instance, he talks about how, people come in and say, this is wrong. And he said, based on what? Based on what? Because that's how I feel. I'm over this two wrongs don't make a right thing. That's never been in my vocabulary. You punch me, I punch you. Then you don't punch me again. That just makes absolute sense to me. I'm not conflicted. I don't need to reflect on it. I don't need to ponder it. I'm good. But what I absolutely understand and have understood for my whole life, if you punch me and I don't punch you back, I'm a punk. And you're going to come punch me again. And you're going to get used to punching me. You see? I also, at one point, you hear him say something you definitely hear me say all the time. You always hear me say this. I'm not concerned about opinions and feelings and making people feel nice, and I don't care about any of that. It's about the truth for me. Well, you hear him say, we're not concerned with feelings and opinions. We don't have time for this. Because he understands what I understand. And what anyone who's serious about movement and the progress of their people understands. We don't have time for no nonsense. And I've always been that in my life. I don't have time. I'm very dismissive, but not for the sake of being ugly or rude. It's just that is no value and you're wasting time and I don't have time for it. I look today when you will catch up to where I'm at and go, oh, that's why he was so dismissive. I get it. You see, we don't have time for this, everybody. We don't have time. And you'll hear him at one point say, we are in our Constitution, we are absolutely dedicated to taking over this country by any means necessary. You see? And he lets them know you come for us because we're ready. We're not afraid. You see, everything about him is me, dude. I'd like to think I'm a little cuter, but that will be in the book, and that's up for somebody else's evaluation, quite frankly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm over it. But you need to see this because I want you to be inspired. If I can't do it, maybe hearing somebody else will help you understand me more. I don't know. Or maybe just for you to understand the concept of what our task is as individuals and as a people. I always tell you, if you want something you never had, you got to do stuff you never did, everybody. That means nothing sounds the way it sounded before, and we're not doing nothing the way we did it. And I'm not conventional. So I'm absolutely cut out for this work. Born for it. Born for it. But you've also heard me say, when I was trying to pull you along by the forelock, to join the Black Independence Liberation League, I said to you, I'm not interested in being the leader of this organization. Only its founder. But that it's my task to ensure that every single person that joins is at the same level of understanding, dedication, passion, fight, sacrifice, etc. that I'm at. Because I've looked at the blueprints that came before us, and what I absolutely saw very clearly was there was always one dude. One dude. We'll take him out. And that'll be the end of it. I knew that I needed to create something that would be invincible and indestructible. That there was not one person you could target and demonize and eventually assassinate. All of us had to be at the same rate. You see? Go step on an anthill tomorrow and totally demolish it. Just demolish it. Come back in a couple days, those ants are still there working and building. You see? You gotta take out the entire colony, and you never will. The ants. The ants. So I understand this. And you'll hear him at one point say, he goes, even if you hear someone speaking in the parliament, or speaking, you don't even have to know the person. You say, this is EFF. This is EFF. He's expressing what I just expressed even. That it doesn't matter the person. That's just the same as if he was standing there speaking. Period. Period. So when you see them hold their rallies and you see a sea of EFF people out there wearing them red shirts and them red turban or berets and all that, that is dedication. He's able to speak the way he does because his people have his back. You don't have mine. When my channel got shut down, how many of you were ready to go and do anything at YouTube, or to even call them up, or start your own lawsuit? You see? Not one. Not that you didn't feel it, but you didn't act. Not that you didn't care. I love you for that. But you didn't act. You didn't act. And alas, it's just a YouTube channel. But it is a precursor to say to me, this is how my people would react. You see? But he's able to have full press conferences, international and all of it, and say everything that needs to be said. That, and without any doubt that he is supported. He's not doing this for him. I know this without meeting him. See, because people that are leaders aren't there for themselves. They're never there for themselves. Real leaders. It's never about us. You're born with certain qualities. It's an anointing, really. You have to do the work after the realization and the recognition. I'm a leader. Then you realize there's responsibility. Now you have to check your character. You see? And question your motives and your movements, etc. So this man could be doing other things. I'm positive. I'm certain of it, no question. But he understands that somebody has got to come forth. Because what they all desire is never going to happen unless they get about the business of doing it. We've seen previous pieces from him where he says, we are not here to say we're going to kill white people yet. And it burns their ass, and it's nothing they can do. Because our people have nothing but righteousness on our side. Whatever we want to dispense is at our own behest and our choosing. There and here. Whatever we conjure will be sanctioned by the divine. Do you understand? Here he talks about the enemy and all these things. I mean, you have to watch this. This is your homework. You have to watch it. You have to. You have to. You have to. You have to. And be inspired. But also be discouraged and disappointed. Like, damn, how come we not doing that over here? Why don't we have this? You see, the Black Panther were on the path to this. But you had a lot of scary cats. And alas, you had clingers on. So once they took out Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, and Fred Hampton, the Panther faded. Then they had their own infighting that was instigated by the devil. You see, it did things. You see, all things I knew I needed to guard against. I knew this is your task, Jedi. You see what went on. You've got to guard against those things now. You must. So that your people can see, we've put forth something that is solid. And it will embolden even the weakest amongst us to their highest potential. Did you understand what I just said to you? Take the video back and hear it again. I can't say it again. I speak from the heart. Now, so this video is linked in the description box underneath the video. Also, as usual, the GoFundMe link is there, everybody. It's not there for decoration. I need your help. I need your help. Thanks to everyone who gave so much as even a single dollar. I love you. I love you, and I thank you so much. And may Allah give you the evident increase in your blessing in this life and in the hereafter, just for your intention. Just for your intention. And I thank you. But you're going to put something on the GoFundMe, and you're going to go and watch this video, everybody. You must. You're also going to watch the first half of the video. It's about to start now, the main video. I'm just putting this as an addendum at the front. And then hopefully you'll watch the full piece, because I'm pleased with what came out of me. And I only know that it's effective by what you say back to me. So I look for your feedback. But I also look for your desire as to what you would like to see me cover or discuss or whatever, you know. And as I do say in the main piece, which was recorded on Tuesday, by the way. Today is Thursday. But I recorded what you're about to hear. I recorded it on Tuesday, and I just didn't get it out because I knew I needed to put this addendum at the front, and there were some other things, and da 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 da. But I'm hoping that I'll get a chance to, when I get in from the mosque tomorrow, that I will get a chance to be live with you in a live event, God willing, tomorrow. So look for that, inshallah. All right, let us get into the main piece, everybody. Make sure you do this homework. I'll see you soon. Greetings, my people. This is the Jedi. And I come to you now because I've been on a little bit of a blackout as far as media and television and online and all that stuff. The last video that I produced for you, I believe it was the last one, where I was speaking about us not being the chosen people, and yet we are, but I laid out my case for that. I appreciate all of you who not only viewed the video, but also who commented on the video. As you know, if you saw it, that was a very emotional video for me. I actually ended up cutting it short just because of the wave of emotion that was on me, the energy that surrounded my field. So I've been on a little bit of a blackout since that, for the most part. So I'm putting this out to invite you to step up and let me know if there's something that's on your heart that you would like for me to cover in a piece. Whatever it is, you know. If you have something that is a media piece, then I'll ask you to send me links, you know, to articles or videos or whatever it is, or whatever your suggestions are. And don't be upset if I don't choose to cover whatever you bring forth. Obviously, I can't get to everything. But maybe it might end up being a series of pieces. You know, maybe there might be several things that I look at and I think that I could offer something to that, and so I may end up doing a series of videos, you know. Um, but the key thing to keep in mind is that whether it's your suggestion or something that I am exposed to myself or something that comes out of me, whatever, my criteria for anything that I speak on in my videos is, do I have something to offer? Do I have something to offer? Do I have something that can come out of me that will leave you fuller than before you came to me? That's the standard for me. That's the standard, you know. And that is indeed at the core of everything that I produce. There's two main criteria. First, I must have something to offer. And second, I must speak from the heart. Those are fixed standards with me, not just on what I do on YouTube, but that's one of the principles that I live by in my everyday life. My everyday life. My everyday life. You know. So, I look to you to bring forth your suggestions or passions or whatever it is you would like to hear me speak on, or anything you'd like for me to cover, or whatever it is. I always tell you this channel is not about me. It's not about me. It is about us. Us and you. Because as I said many times, my whole presence on this platform was provoked by the intention of finding you. Let me find my people and speak to them. Let me find them and motivate them, provoke them to action, provoke them to character change, habit changes, provoke them to a different thought pattern of how you see the world and how you process events and information. It's my whole reason for being here. Nothing else. If you're not here, I don't need to be. I don't need to be. I don't need to be. As I've said 1,000 times plus, I'm not here for me. I'm not here for popularity. This is not a hobby. This is not for self-aggrandizement. This is not for money. This is not for bragging rights. This is none of that. My statements reflect my intentions, and both are pure. Both are pure. Both are pure. So, this channel, I am the host. I'm the host, the captain, the navigator. But my presence is because of you. I need you to always, always, always know that and keep that in mind. So I'll look for your suggestions. I will say this briefly, because something did come to me. I was watching the aforementioned video. I was watching it back. And I realized in listening to the piece that I always talk about way of life. I always tell you, we throw out this word religion, throw that out, way of life. Because I always say to you in the context that we, as Muslims, we use that word for non-Muslims. Because that's something you can identify with. You say, what's your religion? Oh, I'm Muslim. My religion is Islam. But notice what I just said there. I am Muslim. My religion is Islam. You see? There's a distinction there. Both have their own identity. Inseparable, but definitely have their own identity. So, way of life. And one of the things that I mentioned in that last piece, once again, I said to you, yet again, I said, how you think and speak is how you relate and react. I say that all the time. And I was speaking at that moment in the video about, uh, in some context, about Christianity. And I was saying, you don't have a code of life you live by. You don't have any principles, no foundation. It's just something that you go to church on Sunday and you do. And then, it's just something you do. I said, we're living a way of life from from morning till night, from birth till death. And it dawned on me in listening to that back that maybe I should give a little bit of clarity on what I mean so that when I go forward, in the future, you will absolutely understand what that connotes when I say way of life. I've spoken on it before in previous work, but it's probably amongst videos that were on my channel that doesn't exist anymore. But I'm a consistent man, and so my thoughts don't change. I know what I would say or do in any situation, no matter what it is. Even coming in my house, I always know when I walk in my door, I have a place where I lay my keys and my sunglasses, and then the next thing I do is I always wash my hands. Like, that's just an example. Like, I'm consistent. I know that about me. So if somebody said, what'd you do when you first got home? It doesn't matter when you asked me or when you saw me. You say, what'd you do when you first got home? My answer is going to be the same. I walked in, I put my glasses and my keys down, and then I went and washed my hands. Like, that's a consistent thing with me. I know that about me. So, as it relates to that consistency, I say to you, I know that I've spoken on this at some point in the past. But I say it again now to give you clarity on what I mean by way of life. You see, the divine, the creator, the one, from the moment he put us on the planet Earth, he decreed a way of life for us. A way of life. 3 words. Way of life. It's kind of like you go to buy a new car tomorrow. There's no instruction manual. There's no instruction manual in the glove compartment. You're going back to the dealer. Because what you're really articulating when you go back and ask for that manual is you're saying there's no way of life, no way of operation. I don't have the book that tells me the way of operation. I don't have the law over this car. Stay with me. So I've come back to the dealer to get the manual or the law or the way of ownership, the way of use, the way of operating this vehicle, right? So from the time that Allah put us on the earth, he decreed for us a way of life, how to do, you see? And that's everything. And when you understand that basic concept, then when somebody says to you, when you're having a conversation about theology and divinity and the politics of this word, here it goes, religion, that immediately becomes nonsense to you. And I pray that after you've heard me in this piece, if I'm successful in laying out the thought process, you will easily adopt that for yourself. Not because I said it, but because it is the truth. It will immediately become nonsense to you. You see? So when someone says to the Jedi, we all have and have had these conversations with people in life, in our atmospheres. when people say, well, people can just believe how they want to believe. People can believe what they want to believe. That has been stapled into the vernacular and the lexicon of a very ignorant society. Hear me, my people. Hear me. I always tell you, if the Jedi speaks, you will learn. If the Jedi speaks, you will learn. So let's deal a little bit more with that before we get into the meat and potatoes of what I believe is going to come forth from me. I want to deal a little bit more about how ridiculous that statement and outlook on existence is, because it really is a commentary on existence, and indeed opens the door to all things unlawful and sinful and blasphemous in the eyes of the One, the Divine, the Creator. When somebody says to me, well, people can just believe how they want to believe, as if there's an option, like you're at a buffet. Yeah, I can have the lobster, I can have the steak, or I think I'll have the moose. Somebody pass me the moose. Well, this is not that. I always remind you, you have one arc. From the womb of your mother to the cradle of the earth. One arc. One. That's why I had to stop that last video. Because every time I think about that and I ponder it, I fully understand the magnitude of that reality. And if you are able to perceive it fully as I do, it does bring you to tears. You can't go on. You can't. You cannot go on. You can't. You can't. So when somebody says, well, people just believe how they want to believe, and then you agree with that, well, then you're an idiot also. Because you don't. You see? And from moment one, when Allah said, be, He has installed and constantly has in our face all day long persistent consistencies. Hear that. Persistent consistencies. Excuse me. They're not just consistent, they're persistent. You need to really hear that. I need you to really hear that. The sun rising in the east. Consistent, persistent. You see? And probably you've not considered this word persistent. Well, the sun rises in the east, that's consistent. And then you move on. No. Turn around, come back. Now add to that, persistent. What does this mean, Jedi? Why do you say these things to us? Because by adding this word persistent, that means there's an implication. It's not just an event. That means there is something there that is being insinuated. Persistent. If it's persisting, that means it's saying something to you. It's saying something. And indeed, all of creation is consistent and persistent. Hear me. It's persisting out of urgency to communicate to you something that you're supposed to learn from that. Be it the ants, the flowers, the trees, the sun, the wind, the storms, the animals, the birds, doesn't matter. There's something persistent there. And what that persistence is exactly what the divine has communicated to all of us. And that is, he has stated that his signs are in all that he creates. That's the persistence. So that suddenly that sunrise isn't just beautiful and consistent, it's now profound, deep, and calling. One feels a sense of pondering even. So I digress. When you begin to understand that from the moment Allah created man and everything, he decreed for you a way. A way. Interesting that the Christian always recites this passage of, which is wrongly stated, that the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, known to them incorrectly as Jesus, when they quote this alleged statement of, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Well, throw out everything. And let's allow this statement to be true. But we'll throw out part of it. What does the way mean, you see? And in the mind of the unlearned, the one in darkness, the Jahiliyyah, this way, they incompletely, stay with me, they incompletely translate that statement to be the way to heaven. And they believe that just believing in him only and worshiping him, blasphemous, that will ensure them heaven because he is the way. My brother, he's not the next sibling, but he's the next boy, said to me many years ago, we were having a very heated debate about this word, we'll use it again, religion. And he said, well, the only name that's going to be recognized at the gates of heaven is Jesus. After I cleared the vomit from my palate and cleaned up the puddle that had formed in front of me and was raced out by an emergency team, I returned a month and a half later to continue our argument. Thank you. Thank you. But he crystallizes what is in the mind of my Christian folks. They believe this. They don't understand, nor have they pondered, that the way is not knowing his name. It's definitely not worshiping him, because you shouldn't be doing that anyway. It is that he was, as were all the prophets, sent to be an example of the way. The way. It's more likely he said, I'm here to show you the way, or to remind you of the way, or something like this. Not I am the way. You know, I mean, we won't bicker over that. All right, my point should be clear. What I'm saying is, The way is what I want to deal with when I talk about way of life. So that in the case of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, the son of Mary, you, O people of the book, the Ahlul Kitab, should be obsessed with not knowing how he how he walked on water and how he made the blind man see, and you're never going to do any of that. All right, don't even look for a residency in Vegas. They're all full, and it's not going to happen. All right, throw that out. You should be obsessed with trying to learn how did he live his life? How? How did he walk? How did he hold a coffee cup? How did he use the bathroom? How did he enter a house? How did he do anything? How? Because that's the way, my people. Huh? Remember, he's a prophet from Allah, sent to be an example. So you watch everything he does. And this is the only thing you don't take seriously. Anybody outside my voice that ever wanted to be an NBA star or a rapper or any of these other meaningless pursuits on the planet would all agree. You want to be an NBA player, you need to be out at NBA games, you need to be trying to get to the training camps, you know. How do they do their crossovers? How do they dribble? You know, how does LeBron stand when he does a three-pointer? You know, what does he eat? How many hours of sleep is he getting? Does he travel? You know, how often does he make love to his wife? Does that interfere? Is that calculated in his athletic schedule some kind of way? Does that affect, you want to know everything because he's supposed to be so great. So in life, we always say, if you want to do something, one of the things you do in preparing for that and becoming great at it, you go and see who's great at it. And you study what have they done. What they do. Michael Jackson, rest his soul. Michael Jackson, the most famous human being ever recorded in human history, and the greatest entertainer the world has ever known. Well, he's the standard. So if you want to be an entertainer, and not just a flash in the pan or just some residency in Vegas, he's one of the people you need to be studying. Because he did. For all his greatness, one of his paths to that was he studied those who were great before him. What did so-and-so do, and how do I make it better? Let's watch Gene Kelly. Let's watch Fred Astaire. Let's watch James Brown. What's he doing? Let me see Jackie Wilson. He did this to understand the greats. The greats. And not to mimic them, but to understand what is at the essence. What was their work ethic? How'd they do anything? And how do I now apply my talents and use what they've done as a framework and a blueprint and a foundation for something completely new now that will be my own? You must look to the greats. I was recently heard this song from Madonna, old song, Vogue. And it is so apropos to mention it now in this context of
studying those who were great and all of that because of what the song represented. As you all know, I taught dance professionally for many years. I had a very decent entertainment career. And among the many things that I did was I also was a professional choreographer. And I remember when this voguing sort of came on the scene. It had already been on the scene, but nobody paid attention. You know, if you weren't into dance and you weren't really following the genre, you didn't really, you think that that's when it became a thing. Well, it didn't. You know, there's a video that existed 1,000 years before I was ever born, K.R. Watkins. No, she got her calculator out. I love you, KR. I love you. I love you. I love you. There's a video out 3,000 years before I was born from Jody Watley called Still a Thrill. Still a thrill. How you loving me? Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Anyways, in this video, there's a dude behind her and he's voguing. This is long before Madonna and her Vogue. All right, but it goes further back than that. You know, there was a movie that was done. There's a documentary actually. It's still out there called Paris is Burning, I think it is, and it documents these dance balls that they have in these underground clubs in New York, mostly populated by gay people and drag queens and others. But this was something that most of the dance world agrees that that's where this style of dance came from. What I appreciated about the song that Madonna did was miraculously, and that is the word to use here, miraculously, and in a genius stroke of creativity, she articulated literally what this dance is. I thought, my God, this is the ultimate marriage of music, lyrics, and dance. It was brilliant. It was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And probably some of you won't understand that if you don't understand dance or you don't have an understanding of that, of the world of that, and just it goes to your whole thought process and everything. But it was the ultimate marriage of music, lyric, and dance to give you a dossier, really, a resume on a dance. Hear me. That song gives you a resume on a dance. Now, it becomes important as a choreographer because when you teach dance, a lot of when you're teaching dance, you're trying to help the people that you're teaching to understand what is the feeling of this dance. It might even just be one move in a dance piece. You know, I need this hand with this energy because it's this. This is what the music is saying. This is what you're thinking when you hit this hand. Boom. You know, this is the attitude of the dance. This is the attitude. You see, attitude is very important in it's what the attitude of a dance is going to be is very important. You see, think about Rhythm Nation if they were all out there smiling when they're doing the main breakdown, or any part of the video, quite frankly. Think if Janet was smiling throughout the whole video. It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. The dance is predicated on the music. The music and its lyrics are straight-faced serious. The subject matter is serious. The very music itself that you're hearing is serious. So the look on the face of the dancers and my wife is going to be serious. The attitude of the dance. You see? So Vogue is more of a freestyle dance, really. There's some parameters that are established to give it its styling, but it's basically a free form. You can be creative within that realm of those parameters. Vogue. There's even a magazine called Vogue, right? High society, haute couture, expensive, rodeo, Beverly Hills, you can't afford it. Step back, velvet rope only, Oprah in first, Vogue. You see? You hear the word and you think high fashion, furs and sunglasses and private jets, Vogue, right? So here we had a dance called Vogue. And what Madonna was able to do is to establish a resume for even the layman to understand, what does this dance mean? You had this haughty form of freestyle dance being created and performed by underprivileged people who don't ride in stretch limousines, who can't wear chinchillas and sables. You see, they're shopping at probably the thrift store, if that. But they're definitely not on Rodeo, and they're definitely not buying stuff out of the pages of Vogue magazine. But yet they called it Vogue. This was an aspiration. So the attitude, when you see somebody voguing, the look on their face usually says, I'm better than you. That's usually what the look on their face says when you see somebody voguing. I'm better than you. Because what? They're voguing. And she really staples it, going back to when I talked about you got to study those who are the greats. She really brings it home when she starts naming all these people who represented high society, uh, you know, and high fashion and glamour and movie stardom, and all that. When she starts with the Greta Garbo and Monroe, Dietrich and DiMaggio, Marlon Brando, Jimmy Dean on the cover of a magazine, Grace Kelly, Harlow Jean, picture of a beauty queen, Jean Kelly, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers danced on air. They had style, they had grace. Rita Hayworth gave good face, you see. Lauren, Catherine, Lana too, Betty Davis, we love you. Ladies with an attitude, fellas that were in the mood. Don't just stand there, let's get to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it. Vogue. And even that strike a pose thing. You see? It was brilliant, everybody. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Now we don't have to get into, was it an amazing piece of music creation and it was profound? No, no, no. It was profound and brilliant, even in its simplicity. It stated it. It tells you what this is. Suddenly, even the layman sees why the person that they see voguing in front of them all the time, when they see somebody voguing, they got this dumb look on their face like, I'm better than you. Because it represents that. Vogue. Vogue. You see? Vogue. So you have to study those who have gone before you. What they do. What they do. Because everybody learns from somebody else. All of us got a mama and a daddy. You understand? So you didn't just appear out of a puff of smoke on the earth and I know everything and I'm doing my own thing and everything I do is just me. No. A percentage of that is you. And the other percentage is you expressing what you've been taught, what you've picked up, what you've learned, what you've observed, and how you've defined then those things through yourself. That's what gives you authenticity. But you have to have a foundation from which to work. You see? Anybody can go in the kitchen and make a pizza. You see? But everybody agrees we're going to have a counter. That's the foundation for which this amazing pizza that no one's ever tasted and only you can make it, it's going to come from that. But a percentage of that is based on things that already existed before you. Are you following me? Now, I need to lay that foundation so you can understand what I'm putting forth in this piece. So I digress back to Isa alayhi salam and the misguided Christian who says that Jesus is the way. No, what he did is the way. And anyone not striving and pursuing to live their life the way he lived his is on the wrong path. I'll give you one more example and then I'll go into the main piece. Let's say I know Oprah and you don't. It doesn't even have to be Oprah. Just we're going to some event or something that you've never been to and I've been to. And I come by your house and pick you up. And you come out, you look great, but you can't wear that. Why can't I wear this? Because they don't allow that in such and such place. You have to do this. See what I'm saying? See what I'm wearing? This is what you got to wear. And by the way, you need to have at least this much money in your pocket. Otherwise, you can't get in. I'm telling you the way. The way. Obviously, showing up and just knowing me is not going to be enough. You see? Well, I know the Jedi. Well, so what? What does that mean? We're not letting you in. You see? You're dressed wrong. You don't have this. You don't have that. You don't have this. You're not the way. You can't get in. Oh, I thought if I knew the Jedi, that'd be enough. No, it's not. You need to know the way that we do things. The way. The way. And that way has always been from the first man until now. And it will be until the last man. The way. The way. So when I say to you, you don't have any code that you live by, you don't have any foundation, you don't have any way by which you live, you don't have anything that governs you, and you just, I give up my tirade. I want you to understand exactly what I mean by that. So at the end of this video, you go, what? So at the end of this video, you'll go, you know what? I really don't. I don't have no way of life. I don't. I'm just doing anything. I'm just doing anything. I'm not living by a way of life. I'm not. And then you will be confronted by how do I get about the business of fixing that and getting on the path of the way of life. Because even if we believe this quote from Isa alayhi salam, he didn't say I'm a way. This isn't a way. The way. The means one. It. So suddenly, well, if people can just believe how they want to believe. No. Then your response will be, no, you can't. You can do that if your pursuit is not paradise after this life. If you're okay with eternal hellfire, then your statement is absolutely true. More power to you, bruh. Do you. But if your goal and your desire is paradise after this life, then it becomes, no, what is the way? I'm not doing me, I'm doing the way. The way. You see? The way. And you're happy to submit to anything else in existence when it comes to anything worldly. You will change and augment and submit to that. But not when it comes to the divine. No, I get to do whatever I want. How come you cut your braids off, girl? Oh, you can't wear that at my job. Really? Because I thought you could just do whatever you wanted. Oh, that's only when you're dealing with God, you can do whatever you want. Oh, my bad. But the job, you have to submit to them. Oh, okay, I get it. All right, you're right. I get it. What's for lunch? come you driving so slow? I thought this car does 300 miles an hour. Oh, the speed limit is 50. Well, because I thought you could do whatever you wanted. Oh, that's only when it comes to God and not submitting to Him. Oh, but on earth you submit. Oh, okay, my bad. What's for lunch? Are you feeling me? So there's a way, everybody. The way that the divine has decreed for you. And when Allah sent prophets, it was so that you could ponder everything about them. Everything. Everything. So I'm here to inform you that when the Muslim says way of life, it begins before I even wake up in the morning. First of all, when I sleep on my right side. That's a way of life. Because that's what the prophets did. Prophets, plural. Remember, one revelation, one creation, one God, everybody. So, all the prophets who were sent did the same things. So, as a Muslim, as one who submits my will to the way that my Maker has decreed for me, I sleep on my right side. It's my way of life. I would never offer my left hand to hand you something to eat or to shake your hand. I would only offer you my right hand. Because my way of life is I don't even hold my genitalia with my right hand. I hold it with my left. Because this is what the divine has decreed. Way of life, everybody. Way of life. When I open my eyes in the morning, I say, Allahu Akbar, glory be to the one who has restored my soul and given me another chance. Glory be to thee. Way of life. You will never walk into my home and find the bathroom door opened. Muslims do not leave the bathroom door open. There's a whole reason for that, but I'm just going to, and then everything I'm going to tell you there's reasons for, but I'm just going to give you some of the things so you can understand way of life. So you can understand why I really don't have any way of life. I have some consistent things that I do, but that doesn't equal a way of life. You see? So we'd never have the bathroom door open. There also would never be shoes being worn in the house of a Muslim. This is our way of life. You don't wear shoes in the house. You don't do that. When I enter and leave my home, there are prayers that must be said. There are prayers, specific prayers that are said for travel, etc. Way of life. There's prayers that you say before you even enter the bathroom. When I wash for prayer, you wash the right side of your body and then the left side. Way of life. Way of life. Muslim prays 5 times a day. Way of life. Muslims don't eat anything from a pig. No derivatives, no pieces of it, no clothing, no meat, nothing to do with the pig way of life. Muslims do not consume alcohol. Way of life. No, I'm just drinking because I'm trying to keep my figure cute or some nonsense. No. You don't drink because it's your way of life. Way of life. You never find a Muslim man objectifying a woman with his eyes. Way of life. Truth is principle, and above all, way of life. My father is passed. For 10 years now. And my sister, my baby sister, is not married. It is my responsibility to her. She's entitled to the same rights from me that she would expect from our father. Way of life. The Muslim does not start conflict, but does not turn the other cheek. Way of life. If 86% of our people in this nation were not Christian and instead had been Muslim, police brutality would have been a thing that never got off the ground many generations ago. Would have never got off the ground. Never gotten off the ground. Because Muslims aren't going to sit around and be sitting ducks. Not going to do it. And we understand that we have a divine right to defend our lives. A divine right. Way of life. Can't charge tax or interest, nor receive tax or interest. Way of life. No sex outside of marriage. Way of life. Like it's just what we do. Pronouncing the name of Allah over all food and drink, no matter how great or small. Way of life. You see, Muslim goes to Friday prayer and worship on Fridays. Way of life. But you should be understanding by now that whereas the Christian goes to church on Sunday and can barely find their Bible, if they go, that's a 1 week, that's a 1 day a week designation, and then they're back to whatever they want to do. There's no way of life. There's no way of life. In fact, I was teasing my Nigerian brother. I told you guys he's Christian. Because I've been trying to go to church with him. You know, he invited me to his church back when we first met. And then first it was on me because of scheduling and all that and whatever, but now it's on him. You know, I'm able to go when we going. Well, for him, it's predicated on whether or not he's working, you see. Well, the Muslim, any job that we're going to have, especially the men, it's a little bit more flexible for the women. But for the men, any job I'm gonna have, day one, when I'm in an interview, I need Fridays off. Or I need to be able to leave at this time on Fridays and come back if you'd like me to. But Fridays is our day of worship. Period. The end. Way of life. You see, it's not up for compromise. There's no way a job would ever come over. Nothing comes before our way of life. You understand? Because it's not something we do, it's how we live. Day to night, birth to death. You understand? Way of life. When I lay my head down at night, there's specific prayers, specific passages from the Quran that I recite before I go to sleep. Way of life. You see, for many of you, brushing your teeth is your way of life. And that's cute. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no hot garbage breath. We definitely don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely don't need that. But you would associate that as your way of life. I brush my teeth. Of course I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth every morning. You'd go on. That's cute. You should. See? But when we look at your spiritual inventory, we find a blank slate. There's no way of life. When we look at your relationship to the Creator quotient, we find a blank piece of paper. Nothing's logged. Excuse me. There's no way of life there. No way of life. No way of life. You want for your brother that which you want for yourself. There is no jealousy. Way of life. When oh, I also keep my nails clipped at all times. Except for my pinky nails, because I have to pick my nose and pick my teeth and pick my ears, and I have to pick things. So sometimes I let my pinky nails get a little longer than they should ever be. But keep my nails clipped. Why? Because that is ordained as my way of life. Way of life. Most of you use the bathroom, you go number 2, and toilet paper is sufficient, and that's fine, but not for the Muslim. We must clean the area completely with water at the very least. You understand? And for the men, even for urinate, we sit down. Way of life. Science is now, and medicine is catching up with what Muslims have known for nearly 1,500 years. And this is among those things. For my men under the sound of my voice, talk to your urologist next time you visit him. And he'll tell you it's better for you to sit down when urinating than standing up. We weren't meant to stand up to urinate, brothers. I'm just telling you the truth now. Again, it's a way of life. And not only do we sit down, but Muslim men, we always have a container of water. You go into a proper Muslim home, you will always see a container of water next to the toilet. This is known as istinja. It is water that the men pour over the penis after we've urinated. So, no pissy draws coming from the Muslim. You understand? Again, way of life. Way of life. And I digress back to the animals, everybody, and nature, because we have the seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter. That's way of life being displayed for you. There's that persistence. That consistent persistence. There it is again. Consistent persistence. Now, you will note any dogs you meet, Dogs are the same. There's things they all do that we can say, well, dogs do such and such, and dogs do such and such. You don't have to be a dog owner. You don't have to love dogs. You just know they do X, Y, and Z. That's their way. That is a way. A way. A way. Watch any cat or puppy or dog give birth. They all go into the same routine. Even if they never have puppies in their life. First thing they do, they get to cleaning the afterbirth off of it. They get to licking and cleaning. And behold, there's those blind puppies who have never been on the earth before, don't know anything about anything about anything. And they're born blind. They immediately go for that nipple. Way of life, everybody. Way of life. Way of life. Way of life. And something I learned recently in the last, I don't know, probably a few months. I don't know if it's a year yet, so I'll just say a few months. Dogs never face the east to urinate. I did not know that. I did not know that. And I found this out from a non-Islamic source, just so you know. You understand? Just so you know. But I could go on and on and on and on and on. What I'm trying to say to you is a way, a code, a foundation, an instruction from day to night, from birth to death, of how you're supposed to live your life. And you don't know it. Because all you got is Matthew, Mark, John, and Luke, and Christ is your personal Savior. And none of that is a way of life. A way of life. I've shared with you many times, how Muslims do business even, and what is ordained, what the instruction is. And here's something else I need to be very sure to say to you. This is irrespective of our opinions and feelings. You see, when you're talking about submission to the divine, the all-knowing, the all-powerful, what is your opinion and feeling going to do? Nothing. You get in line or get out of line. You understand? There was a brother that I saw recently who had recently become Muslim, and he was telling his story. And when he first started going to the mosque to meet with the brothers, and he would ask questions, and they would get the Quran and show him what the Quran says. And then they would quote the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then they go to the Quran. He asks something else. They will see what the Quran says. Here's what the Prophet said. And eventually he was like, wait a minute. Okay, can you just do this without the book? Can you tell me what's your opinion? And the brother so eloquently said to him, this is the word of Allah. My opinion doesn't matter. That crystallizes it. And before we were diverted away from our way of rearing our children, that would be something most black folk could relate to. Because you didn't have no opinion. You understand? Your mama, your daddy said it. That's what went on. Anything outside of that was back talking and ass whooping. We're not interested. Didn't I tell you? See? Didn't I tell you? That's it. What they said was biblical. And was probably on the tablets that Moses brought down. I have a team checking it. I'm just telling you. You see what I'm saying? But that's the best analogy you use, because for many of us, we understood and can remember when there wasn't all these rights and opinions and feelings from kids. No, your parents said it, and that was the decree. That was fatwa, done. So you need to see this a billion times more serious than that analogy. Because that will help you to at least begin to raise one eyelash, one, to understanding the nature of the divine and how you look placed in front of He. You are a lowly creature, dust and nothingness. Lowly creature, dust and nothingness. And when you begin to understand that, your spirit is humbled. Your spirit is humbled because you realize the magnitude of the one that we call Creator. And that should have a direct impact on your character and your soul. Way of life. Going forward from this video, you should be asking yourself, if you're interested in righteousness and certainly in paradise, everything that you do in life, you should be saying, is this how God instructed me to do X, Y, or Z? You see, in all of your dealings, financial, family, politics, job, it don't matter. Because this way of life that Allah has decreed for you has covered every chapter of human existence. Even down to how to go to the bathroom. So you should be saying to yourself, man, if that's covered, then everything I would want to know should be addressed. Because I've got many hours in a day and in a month and in a year to live. Jedi, are you telling me that the divine has covered every single one of those? Yes, I am. You're saying everything that I would do in life has been covered? Absolutely. I'm saying this to you. Why this becomes, as I close, why this becomes so important to us as a people, everybody. I've said this to you definitely. I've said to you, even if you can't get about the business of being a Muslim, fine. If our people could just adapt the major principles even. So fine, you don't want to have to wash your penis when you go to the bathroom. Okay, fine. But if you could adapt those core principles that happen to be our way of life as Muslims, that if placed like a transparency over our people, 99% of our issues go away tomorrow. That's a guarantee. That's a guarantee. Just one I'll give you. If we just can't come together as a people. Now this should be very simple for you to understand. As Muslims, if I'm anywhere and I identify a Muslim brother or sister, that's it. That's it. That's my family. That's my brother. That's my sister. Period. As if we had come out of the same womb together at the same time as twins. It's like that. They have my trust, my loyalty, my devotion, my brotherhood. from the moment of Assalamu Alaikum. They have it. That's it. Because it is our way. It is our way. And our way, our incentive for following this divine and perfect blueprint is because this is what the Maker, the divine, the one, the Creator has said. This will lead you to this. And that is paradise. This is what I've decreed for you. This is what I expect. Do this and I'll reward you with this. So, any of my brothers or sisters doing anything for me, or just embracing me in kindness and welcoming, they don't do it because they think I'm so fantastic, which I am, but that'll be in the book. All right, settle down. You guys are getting off the subject. All right. No, they do what I do, what we all do, all 1.8 billion of us. We do it for the glory of Allah. Out of submission to Him, we do it. Out of trust in Him, we do it. Faith in Him, we do it. Devotion to Him, we do it. That's why. So when my brother says to me, a few years ago, just in conversation, oh, my flight leaves at such and such, I'm flying off to Egypt. Yeah, you did tell me you were going to Egypt. Yeah, I got to go over here and get I've already booked my rental car and this and that. Whoa, wait, I heard rental car. Yeah, I've booked a rental car. No, brother. Allah has given me a car. And He has stated for us to spend out of what He has given to us. That this car isn't just for me. You are my brother in Islam and in the eyes of Allah. And if I am physically able, I thusly shall take you to the airport. But brother, my flight doesn't leave until 2 o'clock in the morning. That's fine, brother. We can leave whatever time you think you need to leave. Cancel your rental car. Not because I was just so eager to go to the airport and I just, I'm doing it for the glory of Allah, and He is the beneficiary. He gets to be the beneficiary on earth. But my act is for the glory of Allah, because it's the way of life. The way of life. The way. The way. So, when you place that transparency over African folks, you don't even have to greet me for me to know you're an African. So, instead of walking around with all this distrust and can't come together and can't be united and can't get along, it should be that much more easy for us because we're the darkest things on the planet. We can see one of us from at least a mile. Oh, that's my brother down there. I see. That's my sister. That's her. Excuse me. So if we just adopt even just that for the glory of our Maker, but this is why I say you have a spiritual deficit, that you don't know the divine, you have no relationship with Him. That's why you don't pursue acts of graciousness to Him. One of which would be the following example, which, by the way, would be one of the things that would bring us together and send us on a different trajectory as a people in this nation. So that when you run for Congress, we automatically come out and vote for you. The sister is running. We have to go support her. We don't have to know who it is. Listen, if one of my brothers comes to me and say, "Brother, the brother is running for the. Did you hear that the brother is running for the Senate? Oh, Subhanallah. Where do I go support the brother? Not well. Who is he? Who do you know him? And I know because we know that Allah will deal with him if he doesn't do the right thing, and we will handle him too. I don't have to know anything. The brother is doing. Oh, Subhanallah, we go support that. Imagine if we did that as a people. Imagine. You just at the grocery market. You going down at the cereal aisle or some nonsense. You see a brother and his kids or something. Hey man, you know the sister just opened up a beauty supply over on such and such street. Oh, what's the address over there, man? So I can go over and support her. Not well, I don't really buy nothing. You know how they treat us. And no. All he heard, a sister open, go support. That's it. That's it. And guess what? If you're living by our code, when you get there, Keisha ain't trying to overprice you. Because what? She sees you as her brother and her sister, but more importantly, she's seeking the glory and the smile of Allah. She's so glad to see you. You came to support her business. And she's going to do everything she can for you. No words have to be spoken about it. I'm saying I came to support you. I know you can give me some kind of discount. Well, you just ruined it. And get out. You see, I told you guys the story. You know, there's where I live. There's a brother that has a place where you have to go get your, we have to go get your car emissions nonsense done. Just another way to steal money from the damn people. I'm over it. Um, and I didn't even know the brother had a place. I pull up in there one day to get my emissions done, and he tells me one price. And when he's done, we go to sit down and do the paperwork. He sees my name. He says, "Where are you from?" I go, "Well, I'm from here." And like, "Why are you in my business?" Silently in my mind, I'm like, why are you in my business? I'm like, "I'm from here." Like, what? And he was like, "No, but where are you from?" I said, "Well, I was born in Chicago, South Side." But your name? I go, "Oh, I'm Muslim." And this big smile came over his face. He goes, "I'm Mohammed." Subhanallah. We both stand up. Salamu alaikum, brother. Alhamdulillah. If anybody witnessing this would thought those people haven't seen each other in 10 years, they must go way back. Well, we didn't know each other. And the price changed by $10. Not for me, but for the glory of Allah and recognizing the code by which we live. This is an opportunity for him to do something for his brother and receive the blessing from Allah. Not to impress me. You see? The code. The code, everybody. The way of life. The way. The way. Last thing I'll say. My nephew, the prince. Y'all know he's 17 and a half now. And, in fact, we were just, on the phone app, the video phone, I forget what damn thing we were using. But, it's like Skype on the phone, I'll just say that. And, cause he just got his first do-rag. Because he recently cut his hair. And so he had told me about it like maybe a week ago. But he wanted me to get together with him so I could show him how to do it. So we're on this app and I'm showing him how to different ways he can do his do-rag, how, and just everything do-rag, the whole world of do-rags, right? Anyways, so he's 17 and a half, and as you all know, the prince is very handsome. Don't ever tell him I said that. Right. As far as he knows, he looks like Flavor Flav. All right. That's all he knows. All right. Which is positive. Which is positive. Which is positive. All right. But anyway, so he's an example to mention in this way of life case that I'm laying out because for you all, forget 17 and a half, when he was 10, y'all would have been, where's your little girlfriend at? Where your little girlfriend at? He's so cute, where your little girlfriend at? Nah. Way of life, my people. There is no little girlfriend. And there won't be. You see? Because our way of life calls for him to get his education and his schooling, for us to rear and raise and instill in him the proper character, the sense of truth, excuse me, and this way of life that I'm describing for you, to get his career, his finances, and his holdings up. And one day in the future, then he will be ready to approach a sister for the purpose of marriage. There will be no shacking up. There will be no baby's father. There will be no, we talking and we talking and I just hollered at her, and no. Way of life. We must produce a king that will be worthy of a queen. Because the first right of a child is established before there even ever a sperm seed. The first right of the child, the Creator says to mankind, is you have a responsibility to pick a mate that will be a good parent to your child. That is the first right of the child before they've even thought of. Way of life. Way of life. Way of life. Now, my people are telling me that today is Tuesday. All right? I'm hearing that today is Tuesday. I'm hearing this. I'm hearing it. I'm being told. All right? Being told in my ear that today is Tuesday. I'm being told. All right? So probably Thursday or maybe Friday when I get in from the mosque, everybody, I hopefully will be able to produce a live stream for you. And I would love for us to talk about this, at least as the foundation of our live stream. You guys know our live streams usually go for at least 3 hours, and we cover a lot of ground. I'd like for you to keep in mind and remind me that we get on this and devote some time to it so that you can share any of your thoughts on this with regard to how this talk impacted you, how it relates to your own life, just whatever's going to come out of you, whatever's authentic, But I would like to devote some time to this because this is so essential to the relationships of our people to one another as individuals and us as a group. I've said for years that what is at the heart of the lack of progress of our people is our character. And character goes hand in hand with our lack of way of life. So anything goes. And that has and is leading us down the road to destruction. We're doing any and everything because nothing matters. Nothing matters. Nothing matters, And we're seeing everything through the wrong context. You have cocooned yourself into this world and you've not even contemplated the afterlife. You haven't even contemplated it. And that is a deadly flaw. Deadly flaw. Deadly. Deadly. Because we're not considering the afterlife. When you begin to live for the afterlife, everybody, everything that you do changes. Everything. Because this is a blip. Boop, and it's over. Today you're 16, tomorrow you're 60. That's it. You see? We, as individuals and as a group, must make change in how we do everything. You see? Because when you do that, it all changes. It all changes. You understand? You will never find the Muslim loving their enemy. You'll never see that. Loving your enemy. That sounds like a double negative almost. Loving your enemy. Wow. Quick, somebody bring me what killed Elvis. Nurse. Nurse. This is essential. This is essential. And I hope that I was able to go to another level on this topic in a way that I haven't before. Hopefully you, maybe where I hadn't turned on light bulbs before, maybe this time a light bulb went off for you. I'd like you to share that with me, you know. Way of life, everybody. Way of life. Way of life. It's everything. And it literally is everything. It's literally everything. Way of life. Way of life. We always ask it when we go to another country, we see another country, we say, how they do such and such over there? Oh, that's how they do in such and such. That's how they do. That's the way they do such and such. You know how we do such and such here? Well, if you go to such and such, they do such and such. You're describing somebody's way of life. But you don't have one. You don't have one. You have an existence. You have habits, provocations, inclinations, moments of spontaneity. You can keep going. But none of those things are way of life. They're incidentals. Random, at best. Not consistent. Definitely not way of life. We need a way of life. A way. And that's what Islam is. It's not a religion. Islam is your way of life. Total submission to the way that the Creator has decreed for you to live your life. And those who do that get a title known as, wait for it, Muslim. Because Islam means submission. Islam means submission. Mu is to do in Arabic. Mu, Islam. Muslim. Muslim. So when you say, what's your religion? We wouldn't say, well, I do submission. You could say that. It'd still be true. You see? But when you say to a Muslim, you know, what religion are you? We cringe at the word religion inside and secretly. You say, oh, I'm Muslim. My religion is Islam. What we're really saying to you is we have a way of life. And that way of life is submission to the Creator. That's our way of life, submission to what He has decreed and laid out and instructed. And those who do that are known as the ones who do that. They do submission. Islam. Muslim. Muslim. You see, this is why when you hear white people and all who have ever heard them say Muslim, They should be punched in the face, because you're going to understand from a grammatical standpoint, as I just, by default of the way I just explained that to you, that these words have meaning. You see? So there's no ma. You see? Mu is to do in Arabic. Mu. So Muslim, not Muslim. You see? And the devil knows this. They know it. They know it. They know it. See what I'm saying? So you will also go forward from this video never saying Muslim ever again, without falling into a 50-foot sinkhole, followed by a torrent of water and sewage. Thank you. I'm over it. I don't want to get worked up. So, let us discuss this, everybody. You see? But evaluate your own life from a spiritual perspective. And be truthful with yourself. And confess to yourself that you don't have a way of life. I'll see you soon.